Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. When somebody hurts you, they may think they got away with it. They might act like it doesn't bother them. They might smile in public, post pictures, laugh loud, live wild. But deep down, they're not at peace because guilt. Oh, guilt is a silent killer. It don't make noise, but it breaks a person down from the inside out. The guilt they carry for hurting you is destroying them. Piece by piece, day by day, when people hurt you, it doesn't mean they walk away free. Guilt is a heavy chain they carry long after you're gone. You see, some people think that just because they said what they said, did what they did, and walked out of your life, that the story ends there. But that's not how life works. Life has a funny way of keeping score. You can't break somebody's heart, betray their trust, or play with their emotions and just expect peace to follow you. No, that guilt follows you like a shadow, silent but constant. It doesn't show up right away, but over time, it starts whispering in the back of their mind every time they see someone who reminds them of you. Every time they pass a place where memories used to live, that guilt tugs at them. It's that quiet voice that says, you messed up, you hurt someone who didn't deserve it. The truth is, guilt is one of the heaviest emotions a person can carry. It doesn't make noise, but it eats at you from the inside. It can turn peaceful nights into sleepless ones and joyful moments into hollow ones. And the thing about guilt is it doesn't go away until you face it. You can bury it under distractions, relationships, parties, or pride, but it always finds a way back. Because guilt doesn't need permission to visit. It just shows up when you least expect it. When they see someone love them the way you once did, and they can't love them back the same way, guilt knocks again. When they hear your name and feel a sting in their chest, that's guilt reminding them of the damage they caused. It's not your job to make them feel it. Life already does that for you. People don't realize that when they hurt a good heart, they set something in motion. Your pain becomes their lesson. They might act tough, show off how happy they are, pretend they've moved on, but deep down, they know what they did. They know they broke something pure, and that knowledge doesn't leave. It becomes a burden they carry quietly. They think about the moments they could have chosen kindness, but chose ego instead. They think about the love they threw away, the trust they shattered, and the way you still wish them well despite it all. That's when guilt transforms into regret, because they realize too late that they didn't just lose you, they lost the version of themselves that was loved by you. And maybe they'll never say it out loud. Maybe they'll never apologize, but life will keep reminding them through people who treat them the way they treated you, through loneliness that no distraction can fill, through memories that refuse to fade. That's the price of guilt. It makes you live inside your own consequences. So while they may have walked away freed on the outside, they're chained on the inside. Because guilt never really leaves. It just waits, watches, and whispers until they finally understand the pain they caused and the love they'll never get back. The conscience has a powerful way of turning peace into punishment when you've wronged someone who loved you genuinely. You can try to silence it, distract it, drown it out with noise, but the conscience doesn't forget. It's like an echo that keeps coming back no matter how far you run. When you hurt someone who had nothing but pure intentions for you, someone who prayed for you, believed in you, stood by you even when you didn't deserve it, you don't just wound them, you wound yourself. Because the human heart knows the difference between love given freely and love lost foolishly. That truth doesn't leave you alone. It sits with you in silence, waiting for the right moment to remind you of who you became when you chose to hurt someone who would have never hurt you. You see, peace doesn't come easy when you carry that kind of guilt. You might fool the world, but you can't fool your spirit. The same way the body aches when it's wounded, the soul aches when it's guilty. It starts as a whisper, a soft reminder that maybe you shouldn't have said those words. Maybe you shouldn't have walked away. Maybe you shouldn't have taken that love for granted. But as time passes, that whisper grows louder. It shows up in your thoughts when you're alone. It plays back in your dreams, in your quiet moments, even in the laughter you try to use as a cover. The conscience doesn't let you rest easy because deep down, you know the kind of love you destroyed is rare, and it doesn't come twice. The people who hurt genuine hearts often think they've won. They think silence means weakness. That walking away means victory. But what they don't realize is that their conscience is already collecting the debt. It doesn't demand payment through revenge or karma right away. It demands it through restlessness, through emptiness, through a peace that just won't come. They can smile in pictures, live loud on social media, but that inner voice keeps saying, you know what you did. And that's the kind of punishment no court, no person, no circumstance can match, because when your own soul turns against you, there's nowhere to hide. That's why people who have done wrong often chase noise, constant company, endless distractions, new faces, new adventures. They're not chasing happiness. They're running from themselves, because when it gets quiet, that's when the conscience speaks the loudest. It reminds them of the person who cared, the person they betrayed, and the peace they sacrificed for a moment of pride or selfishness. And that's when peace becomes punishment. They can't sit still because stillness brings memory, and memory brings pain. So the next time you wonder if they're sleeping well at night, if they ever think about you, understand this: the conscience doesn't rest until it's faced. And when you hurt someone who loved you truly, that conscience will keep them restless, uneasy, and haunted, because peace cannot live where guilt has built a home. Silence doesn't mean they don't care. Sometimes they're quiet because they can't face what they did. You might think they've moved on, that your absence doesn't affect them, that your pain never crossed their mind. But silence can be a loud confession. It's not always pride that keeps them from reaching out. Sometimes it's shame. It's the weight of knowing they were the reason you cried, the reason you stopped trusting, the reason you changed. They don't know what to say because no apology feels enough. They don't know how to face you because your eyes would remind them of everything they destroyed. So they choose silence. They convince themselves it's better this way, but deep down they know it's not peace keeping them quiet. It's guilt. There's a difference between walking away because you're done and staying silent because you can't bear to face what you caused. A person who's done nothing wrong doesn't avoid conversations. They don't avoid closure. They don't avoid accountability. But someone who's guilty will hide behind silence, pretending it's maturity or strength. They'll tell themselves it's better not to stir things up, when in truth, they're scared to stir up their own emotions. They're afraid of what will come out if they look you in the eye, the remorse, the regret, the longing for forgiveness. They can't handle that mirror because it reflects a version of themselves they can't stand to see. And here's the truth. Silence doesn't erase guilt, it amplifies it. Every unspoken word, every avoided message, every night spent staring at the ceiling, wondering, what if? It all builds up. They might scroll past your name, hesitate on your pictures, think of you in random moments, and that silence becomes suffocating. They want to speak, but the fear of rejection, the fear of not being forgiven, the fear of facing your calmness when they expect anger, it paralyzes them. So they stay quiet. But quiet doesn't mean healed. Quiet doesn't mean freed. Quiet means trapped in the echo of their own choices. It's easy for outsiders to say, if they cared, they would have said something. But caring isn't always loud. Sometimes caring is sitting in guilt, unable to form the words. Sometimes it's retyping that message over and over, never hitting send. It's watching you from afar, hoping you're happy, wishing they could take it all back, but knowing they can't. That silence becomes their punishment. It isolates them. They can't go back and they can't move forward, so they live in between, haunted by memories they can't speak about. You may never hear from them again, but don't mistake that silence for peace. It's not peace, it's penance. Their quietness isn't indifference. It's the sound of a guilty heart that can't find the courage to confess, because when you hurt someone, pure silence becomes the only place to hide, and even there, the memory of what they did never lets them rest. Forgiveness frees you, but their guilt remains their prison until they take responsibility. Forgiving someone doesn't mean what they did was okay, and it doesn't mean you forget. It means you choose not to let their actions control your peace anymore. Forgiveness is strength. It's saying, you hurt me, but I refuse to let that hurt define my future. But here's what people don't understand. When you forgive, you set yourself free, not them, because guilt, that heavy emotion, doesn't disappear with your forgiveness. It stays with them, following them like a shadow, whispering reminders of what they did to someone who deserved love, not pain. You may release the burden from your shoulders, but they still carry theirs, and it only grows heavier with time. When you forgive, you take back your power. You stop waiting for an apology that might never come. You stop replaying those moments in your head, wondering why they did what they did. You realize that peace is not something they can give you. It's something you build yourself. But guilt doesn't give them the same freedom. Guilt keeps them locked in a mental loop, trapped in the moment they caused your pain. They might try to move on, start over, pretend like nothing happened, but deep down, they can't outrun their conscience. Every good thing that comes their way feels tainted because they know they hurt someone who only wished them well. That's how guilt works. It poisons joy. It haunts quiet moments. It whispers when the world goes silent. You can look at them now and think, they're fine, they've forgotten. But trust me, they haven't. They may not show it, but their soul remembers. Forgiveness doesn't wipe their slate clean. It just wipes yours. It removes the bitterness from your heart, but their guilt, that's theirs to deal with. And unless they face it, own it, and seek redemption, it becomes a life sentence. You see, guilt can turn into a wall between them and peace. They'll keep wondering why they can't feel truly happy, why something inside them feels incomplete. It's because unresolved guilt never lets you rest. It demands attention until you make things right, and that's where the balance of life comes in. You let go, and they hold on. You heal, and they hurt in silence. That's not revenge. That's justice from the soul, because life has a way of evening things out. When you choose forgiveness, you open doors to new blessings. But when they choose denial, they build a prison for themselves, one made of regret and shame. And no matter how far they go, that guilt follows, whispering reminders of the love they lost and the damage they caused. Forgiveness gives you wings, but guilt keeps them crawling, and until they take full responsibility for their actions, until they truly seek forgiveness, not from you, but from themselves, they'll never be free. Because freedom doesn't come from forgetting what you did, it comes from owning it. Life has a way of making people face their actions. Karma doesn't miss a beat. You might not see it happen. You might not even hear about it, but life has a strange, quiet way of bringing everything full circle. You can't escape the energy you put out. When you do someone wrong, especially someone who loved you with honesty and pure intentions, that energy doesn't just disappear. It circles back. It may take months, maybe even years, but one day they'll feel the same kind of pain they once caused. That's not because you wished it upon them. It's because the universe works in balance. You get back what you give even when nobody's watching. And when karma shows up, it doesn't knock. It walks right in, reminding them of the hurt they caused and the love they lost. You see, people often think they can outsmart life. They think they can hurt someone, walk away, and keep on living like nothing happened. But life keeps receipts. You can't plant seeds of pain and expect a harvest of peace. Eventually, the truth catches up, and when it does, it hits hard. It could come in the form of a broken relationship, loneliness that eats at them, or a moment when they finally realize what they took for granted. That's karma doing what it does best, teaching through experience. It doesn't need revenge or drama. It teaches silently through moments that make you sit and think, now I understand how it feels. That's life's justice, slow but sure. And when that day comes, they'll remember you. They'll remember the tears they caused, the nights you couldn't sleep, the way you loved them without limits. They'll realize that while you were healing, they were building up the lesson they'd one day have to face. Karma doesn't rush. It waits until the timing is perfect, until the pride fades, until the distractions don't work anymore. Then it shows them exactly what it feels like to be on the other side of the pain they caused. It's not about punishment. It's about understanding. Life teaches everyone that you can't break something pure and expect your own life to remain whole. So while you may have cried, they will too. While you were breaking, they were writing their own heartbreak story without even knowing it. Life doesn't let anyone skip the test. Everyone gets back what they give, whether it's love, pain, truth, or lies. You may not get to see their karma unfold, but trust that it's happening. It's not your job to watch it. It's your job to move forward. Because while they're stuck relieving what they did, you're moving on to peace, to growth, to blessings. And that's the beautiful thing about karma. It's not about revenge. It's about restoration. It puts everything back where it belongs. Sooner or later, they'll face the mirror life puts in front of them. And when they do, they'll finally understand what it means to feel the pain they once caused you. Your strength in healing becomes their mirror, reminding them what they lost through their own choices. There's a special kind of power that comes when you rise from pain, a quiet confidence that doesn't need revenge or words. When they see you heal, when they see you smiling again, when they see the light in your eyes returning after they tried to dim it, it hits them in ways nothing else can, because you're not supposed to survive that kind of heartbreak, at least not in their mind. They thought you'd stay broken. They thought you'd wait. They thought you'd always be available if they ever wanted to come back. But when you start loving yourself again, when you stop waiting for closure, when you walk with peace instead of pain, that's when the guilt truly sets in. Your strength becomes the reflection of their weakness, and your healing becomes the proof of what they destroyed. You see, nothing haunts a person more than watching someone they hurt grow without them. It's not just jealousy. It's realization. They start to see the kind of person you always were, the love you always gave, and how they couldn't see your worth when it mattered. They thought they could replace you, but they can't replace peace. They thought they could find better, but they can't find genuine. Every time they see you leveling up, smiling brighter, or walking confidently without their validation, their guilt deepens. Because now they see the version of you that was always there, the version they were too blind to appreciate. Healing turns into power, and that power becomes their punishment. The same person they thought they broke becomes the person who inspires others. And that contrast, that transformation burns quietly inside them. They remember the things you used to say, the ways you supported them, and how they dismissed you. They remember how you stood by them when they were lost, and now you're standing tall without needing them. That realization eats at them because deep down, they know they had something real and didn't value it. They start to see that their choices didn't just hurt you. They cost them a blessing. That's the thing about guilt. It doesn't always come from doing wrong. Sometimes it comes from seeing how right someone was for you and knowing you ruined it yourself. And when they see your peace, it doesn't make them angry. It makes them ache. Because they can't undo what they did. They can't rewind time and treat you better. They can't erase the memory of your love, your kindness, your presence. Your healing is a reminder that love didn't fail. They did. And while you're finally free, they're still trapped in that moment of loss. They carry the guilt of knowing that you became everything they didn't have the strength to be. You turned your pain into purpose, your heartbreak into wisdom, and your silence into strength. And every step you take forward without them becomes a mirror that forces them to see the truth. They didn't just lose you, they lost the chance to be loved by the best version of you.